Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's a beautiful morning. The weather is a little chilly with some fog floating in the air. The birds are having their morning ritual, and I really felt that we should discuss something which is the backbone of all investigation and meditation, and that is the honesty in your investigation. Honesty in the sense that you should not fool yourself. You should not be deceptive towards yourself. You should not lie to yourself during this process of investigation. If you see something bad about yourself, if you see something which you're not proud of, to still acknowledge it, to still accept it, that yes, this is how things are. Another kind of dishonesty that people usually do is the dishonesty of accepting where they stand. At the moment, if you go to YouTube, there are many people who are trying to explain everything, okay? Who are entering to explain meditation, who are trying to explain literally the whole universe. And one thing you would find common in most of them is that most of them try to explain the biggest statements, the most famous statements of meditation, and these are kind of the initial videos of these channels, if you would look. Whether it's the statement by Nisargadatta Maharaj of I am that, whether it's the highly famous statement by Krishnamurti, observer is the observed, or truth is a pathless land, or whether it's the Ashtavakra Gita, or whether it's some statement from the Bhagavad Gita, or whether it's some of the higher statements by Buddha. In all these things, what I would like to point out is that be honest about where you stand at this moment. All of the people who are talking about these big statements, and these are literally the final statements, okay? For example, if you would listen to Krishnamurti's discourses in a proper way, like he has maybe said 7 lectures he has given at one location, so the proper way would be to start from the first lecture and then go to the 7th one. But our minds are so that they want to go straight to the 7th one, where he's saying the most highest statements. But it requires an honesty to accept that we are actually standing on the first step, on the first lecture that he's giving, where he's putting out the basics in front of you, okay? In the same way, if you go to Buddha, you will see that he also tries to put out the basics first and then goes to the bigger statements. But sadly today on the YouTube, everyone is trying to explain the highest statement straight away, okay? And this kind of shows, it appears to show, if I don't have to make a claim, then I would say it appears to show that they really want to attract more people. Like, eventually, I think even if you listen 100 explanations of these big statements, nothing will actually happen. The reason I'm saying that is that because you haven't done the basic part of investigation. It's not that those statements and those explanations are wrong by those people. It doesn't really matter actually. What matters is the situation in which the listener is, in which you are. Now, if I make a big statement like observer is the observed or something like this, or I'm that, okay, then the listener, you, are you open enough? Are you in that state to receive that statement? You know, because how you receive the statement matters a lot. Which is why, if you would look at some of the past videos or past themes that I've been taking, like, I really stress on the things which are related to our daily living. Okay? Observer is the observed is not related to your daily living as your life is right now. So that statement for you becomes very less important at the moment, because there is no way you can receive that statement at the moment. There is no way you can actually see the depth and beauty of that statement. And it doesn't make you anything less. It doesn't make you lower. It doesn't make you stupid or anything. There is nothing like this. It's just that you cannot learn calculus straight without ever going to school. Okay? So there could be exceptions, okay, where the hunger for knowing is so intense that the person reaches these statements much quickly, much faster. But those are exceptions. For the bigger audience, for the high amount of people, for a lot of people, it takes time to reach that place where they can actually absorb these statements. So, I would request you to not be influenced by these big statements. There is no need to start listening to Ashtavakra Gita straight away. There is no need to start listening to Krishnamurti's 7th discourse straight away. If you want to listen to Krishnamurti, I would say, as a beginner, only listen the first 2 lectures that he gives. And you can listen those first 2 from different dates, from different locations where he has spoken. And try to see, first of all, if those first 2 are actually implemented in your life. Are they actually part of your life? Because he actually says already quite a lot of stuff even in his first 2 lectures. So the same goes to other literature as well. There is no need to go to Ashtavakra Gita straight away. Start where you are. Be honest enough to accept that no, I'm not in that position that I can understand or absorb those higher statements. Okay? You could listen them for fun. You could listen that, this is where I have to reach. This is what I have to understand eventually. But the amount of borders, the thick walls we have inside of us, and these walls are very difficult to even recognize sometimes for people, that they have these walls. So when you would listen to Ashtavakra Gita or these big statements, it would feel like, yes, of course, I can understand all this. Yeah, of course. But that is not the kind of understanding that those statements really want you to have. You could have a theoretical understanding where you can explain the statement to 2 of your friends sitting in a bar. You could have this kind of gathering of knowledge because you've seen many people talk on this, okay? And there are many people nowadays who are talking on these big statements, but it wouldn't be part of your daily living. And if it's not part of your daily living, it's just like no good at all, because your daily living is what you have to face every moment. Okay, so to accept the honesty of not getting in the trap of listening and spending most of your time in these bigger and greater statements. We are not disrespecting those statements, just we are simply saying that most people are not ready for those statements. So it would be wise enough to be honest with yourself and say, fine, I have heard it, I have enjoyed it, but my real work is actually at the beginning of the of where I am at this moment. So to have a honest understanding of where you are, to have an honest understanding of the fact that this is where I stand right now. I do not stand in the middle of the beautiful clouds of heaven or something like this. My present state is this daily living where I have to face problems, where I have to face my family, where I have to face my friends, where I have to face my boss, where I have to face my office. And how do I deal with all that? Okay? First, I have to understand that. You have to first understand the trash where you are standing. But the mind doesn't want to do that. Mind wants to go straight to these big statements. Mind wants to go straight to these big explanations and say, oh, I have become somewhat intelligent, that I have understood this and that. And most people on YouTube are trying to explain these things conceptually, like in a way of a concept. So try to avoid wasting your time on those things, okay? Even if you have to listen to someone, listen to those channels who use these statements the least. Okay? The one who is just explaining what has already been said is actually doing an easier job. Okay? The one who is not doing it is trying to say the same truth but in a more fresh way, in a more new way. And that actually shows his intelligence, that he is actually capable of seeing it. That's why he can put it, he or she, I'm sorry, in a different way. But the easier way is to just pick up a literature and try to explain it and show that you can explain it, and that's why you are capable enough and you are intelligent enough. So even if you have to spend time on YouTube on these channels, find channels who don't use other people's statements that much. Okay? Eventually, to put some hints, to show some logic, to show some connections, you could find people using these statements. And eventually it's also about love, that the people who have actually understood it also feel a tremendous amount of love for these great teachers. And it's a way of respect to bring those statements. But if you see on a YouTube channel a person is trying to get big statement after big statement and trying to show that yes, I'm explaining these big things, then I think it would not be very helpful. Because if you have done the initial part nicely, if you have understood your life nicely, the biggest statement, you don't need help, anyone's help to understand them. Because as you start doing the basic work, your own sensitivity starts to increase. And as your own sensitivity starts to increase, you become more and more capable of understanding those statements straight from Krishnamurti or straight from Ashtavakra. Okay? Then you wouldn't need a middleman to explain those statements to you. So, be very, very honest with yourself regarding where you stand. Don't think that you can straight away jump to that place, even though some teachers have said sudden jump, sudden enlightenment, and this kind of statements. But those sudden things also happen after a tremendous amount of basic work about a basic understanding of life. So don't think there is some kind of a shortcut that without knowing your daily living, without understanding what's going on, you will just understand these big statements or big parts. So all in all, yeah, be honest with yourself. This would be my message to you, because don't waste your time with these big explanations, big YouTube channels who are trying to explain them. Just first start with the basics, and I think that would do you much more practical good, because that would improve your daily living, which you have to face every day. So I hope I have been able to convey something, and if you have some further questions, then please write to me, and let's discuss them more together. I will see, maybe I can put another video day after tomorrow or something, as it's a little bit longer weekend because of the holiday. So thank you.